Tesla stock is yet again an SHIT show on the day today, down almost 2% at the time of recording this video. We have lots of Tesla specific news and broad market news to cover, so let's get into it. It appears as if a ton of new Model 3s are being spotted in Fremont getting ready for delivery. Deliveries should be starting within next week, and Tesla is already sending out more invites to configure Cybertruck reservations. This is the 10th wave of invites since December. This is pretty cool news. Tesla is enabling destination charging property owners to host self-serve demo drives directly at their properties. Quote, get more out of your investment in Tesla destination charging, attract new visitors, increase awareness about EV charging at your properties, and create future customers out of new EV owners. Tesla will provide the property owners with up to 4 Tesla demo drive vehicles. Tesla will schedule, manage, and maintain the self-serve demo drive appointments and vehicles for property owners at no cost. The current site hosts an average of 35 plus demo drives per week. Tesla says you'll have the opportunity to generate additional revenue from demo drivers who utilize your on-site amenities during their visit. From my interpretation, this would be mostly for like hotels. Get 4, Teslas at your hotel and let people use them and experience them and, well, get paid for it. Tesla has announced that they are bringing the Cybertruck to China for a national tour. Quote, the first city in the country is decided by you. Draw limited edition Cybertruck gift vouchers. Elon previously stated just a day or two ago that it's going to be difficult to get the Cybertruck road legal in China. Not that it's going to be impossible, but probably something that's actually coming if Tesla is doing a tour across China. What's the point in that if it's not going to be able to be sold in China? So this is encouraging that potentially we will see Cybertruck deliveries in China at some point. Today, the Biden administration announced it is awarding nearly $150 million to 24 grant recipients in 20 states to repair or replace nearly 4,500 existing EV charging ports. Rivian is now allowing leasing of both the R1T and R1S. This has to be the biggest news of all, or at least the most bullish news of all. Jim Cramer said last night, it's looking to me like Tesla will be the first to fall out of the Magnificent Seven camp. Jim Cramer said this about Tesla.
To me, it's looking a little like Tesla will be the first to fall. We have a CEO who's got a little petulant again, talking about needing to control 25% of the company in order to innovate. I guess it's not enough to have 13% be the richest man in the world. Elon, bad look. I know he identifies with Inigo Montoya from The Princess Bride, a.k.a. Mandy Patinkin. But to me, he's about to be taken out by Calavera, Eli Wallach's brilliant bad guy in The Magnificent Seven. Just like in the movie The Seven Were Never Buddies. Did you know that? First to be shot, Harry Luck thinks that he's down in Mexico not to rescue the villagers, but to find a hoard of gold. Now, just to switch metaphors a little, he's kind of like the Dobbsy figure in Treasure Sierra Madre. Yeah, Bogart. So is Musk, he's kind of like Dobbs and Harry. I mean, really, can you imagine, just humor me, can you imagine Jensen Huang coming on air and saying he needs 5 times his current holdings if he's going to do some super duper generative AI? I mean, can you imagine that? Pure hubris, which is why Tesla might be the first to exit the 7.
Jim Cramer has lost it. Officially lost it. Doesn't understand what Elon was saying in the first place. Just to be clear, Elon owns about 21% of Tesla shares outstanding. If Elon converts his 300 million shares worth of options and converts those into shares, then he would own around 21% of Tesla. So he's only asking for 4% more of Tesla. And the reason for this is, why would you, one, work for free, right? In a capitalistic world, I don't care if you're the richest person or the poorest person in the world, you can't ask someone to work for free. That's number one. But number two, Elon doesn't want to get halfway through a robot and other investors try to shut him down with where he wants to take different projects. That's the point of this. And as Elon said, since there's no dual class shares, dual voting right shares, essentially all shares have the same voting power, The only way to get more voting power is to get more shares. It's as simple as that. I think Jim Cramer might secretly be short in Tesla at this point. But as you know, when Jim Cramer says a stock is going to fall, the stock is going to rise. Most of the time. The new Tesla Model 3 gets 5 stars in China's IVISTA Intelligent Vehicle Integration Test. Robotics startup Figure said it has signed a partnership with BMW Manufacturing to deploy its humanoid robots in the car maker's facility in the US. Ford has revealed an entire bronze appearance package for its Mustang Mach-E. A Mach-E GT equipped with the optional bronze appearance package will start at $60,750. Ford has introduced the F-150 Lightning switchgear, an all-electric pickup truck for off-road performance. Although Ford doesn't have any immediate plans to put the switchgear into production, but it is entirely possible and even expected that some of these features could be made available to truck owners somewhere down the line. The Tesla Model Y was officially the best-selling car overall in Europe in 2023. This is the first time an EV has ever achieved the #1 title. Now, I want to share this post with you from Gary Black because I especially agree with the last paragraph, but we'll read the first one as well. Gary Black says Tesla's mission is to accelerate the world's transition to sustainable energy. Price cuts on existing Model 3, Model Y trims do little to advance that mission. Tesla management is again playing the short game of cutting prices to pull forward orders for a month or two. If we learned anything in 2023, once competitors match the price cuts, the acceleration and order flow reverses and inventory discounts return and the process repeats. On the other hand, introducing a $25,000 next-gen vehicle is consistent with Tesla's mission since it expands Tesla's total addressable market to a whole new segment of buyers. Educating non-EV users why they should go EV, lower cost, charging convenience, OTA technology updates, superior performance, good for the environment, so on and so forth, will also accelerate EV adoption. In my honest opinion, Tesla should focus on its long-term mission of accelerating EV adoption and spend less time managing short-term order flow. I specifically want to point this out to you guys because it is entirely possible that coming on this upcoming Wednesday, when we get Tesla's earnings and earnings call, Tesla will say, we don't have full year guidance. We have no idea. We're going to focus on growing our markets, growing our margins, and whatever our deliveries look like, that's what they look like. That's not what I'm expecting, but that is a possibility and would probably be seen as good news. Anything that has to do with margins improving at this point is probably going to be seen as good news. Tesla's earnings call will take place in 6 days, so Q&A is open for retail investors. There has been 1,400 questions asked so far, and the #1 most upvoted question has 1.5 thousand votes and 3 million shares that are represented. It's from an anonymous retail investor that says, given that you have moved the start of the next generation compact vehicle production to Austin, has the timeline improved so that we might see next generation platform vehicles in 2025? What a fantastic question. I mean, if Elon or Tesla specifically would give us clarity on when we could expect the next generation vehicle, the $25,000 vehicle, which upon that, the robo-taxis will come. If we could get a timeline on that, 2025, maybe the end of this year, oh my gosh. Talk about the best news that you could possibly receive. It seems like to me that we are in store for some news around the next generation vehicle coming on the earnings call. Now let's think about this logically for a moment. Tesla has been working on the next generation platform for a while now. If Tesla was able to manufacture and start to mass produce the Cybertruck, a bulletproof vehicle with very hard edges that they blow into shape with air, it's not going to be that difficult to build, develop, and start production of a smaller Model 2 or $25,000 vehicle. It can't be, right? Let me know what you think down below in the comment section. After all, the actual body of the thing is probably going to resemble still a Model 3. That, my friends, could cause Tesla stock to rally over 20% on earnings if we get some kind of news like that. Google Trends data for the Tesla lineup is showing a bottoming in Google Trends data for the Cybertruck, the Model Y, and the Model 3 is falling a little bit, but to see a bottoming here for the Cybertruck, I think is pretty exciting. Global inventory numbers for the Model Y coming down a little bit. The Model X have been falling. The Model S and the Model 3 are sitting at some of the lowest points that you have really ever seen. Tesla continues to run about 400 different ads via Google. It appears to me now is probably a fantastic time to be buying Tesla stock. If you look at StockTwit's sentiment gauge, sentiment is at 0. It is extremely bearish, but message volume is extremely high at 82. Well, 95 here today. Yesterday it was 82. So very high activity around Tesla, but everyone seems to be bearish. Typically a good time to be buying the stock. Participation ratio is also on the lower side, so it seems like some people are just posting a lot of comments, not a lot of people posting just a few comments. That is why I indeed did make a trade playing Tesla's earnings with a specific strategy that goes along with it. It appears as if the risk to reward profile right now looks very appealing for Tesla stock. Tesla stock is oversold on the RSI with an RSI of 28.43. Anytime over the past 12 months, Tesla stock has hit oversold territory, you typically see a pretty aggressive 30 to 40% bounce. Now, whether or not that comes due to earnings is going to depend around margins and full year guidance. Now, I think if Tesla just did not give full year guidance, that would actually be a big positive. Think of it like Apple. Apple stopped giving full year guidance around the Rona. They realized that it's much better to just not give guidance at all than to give guidance that markets don't like. Point is here, anything can happen coming on Tesla's earnings, but this drop that you have seen from $265 to $211, 31 cents right now, you've priced in a lot of bad news. So I wouldn't even be surprised if the earnings call is terrible again and Tesla's numbers are probably going to be good. But let's say the earnings call is bad, the guidance is not exactly what we were hoping for. I wouldn't be surprised if Tesla bounced on bad news at this point. Tesla's MACD also curling down quite a bit. Here on the day today, 10-year treasury yields are up about 3.5 basis points, now to almost 14%. This comes after Fed Bostic made some not so great comments. Fed Bostic, seen as one of the more dovish Fed officials, repeats that his baseline is for rate reductions to start in Q3, with care needed not to cut too soon and risk renewed demand and price pressures. But he also goes on to say that there's a possibility that conflicts around the world could again complicate supply chains, and there's a risk that US budget fights and elections could affect the economy and financial markets. He says that he is open to starting rate cuts before July if there is convincing evidence that inflation is slowing faster than he anticipates. He thinks it is due to uncertainty, it would be unwise for the Fed to lock in any approach at this point. So he's basically saying coming on January 31st, Powell is not going to give us the green light that we're going to get the first rate cut in March. Probably quite the opposite. They're going to say they're data dependent and the same things that we have heard for a while now. But he's probably going to push back on the 6 or 7 rate cuts that markets are currently pricing in. This, I think, is a near-term risk on January 31st, a more hawkish Fed Jerome Powell than what we're used to. We do have some earnings coming out today and after hours, none of which are going to be too important. PPG Thursday after hours, JB Hunt as well, and then a lot of regional banks, including even State Street and Ally Bank, Fifth Third Bank, Huntington's, that will report Friday pre-market. Discover, that's a trade we had some puts on. That was our first winning options trade for earnings, Discover was over a 100% profit. So congratulations to those of you guys in the trading community that hit that one. Potentially some more upside to go. And then TSMC, we did not trade that one, but TSMC is up about 7% today. So the two kind of offsetting each other. Discover fell about 10%. Discover is warning that they're going to add $1 billion additional dollars to their loan loss reserves. So they are expecting defaults to pick up in 2024, and that's what negatively affected Discover and to some degree our markets as well in the beginning of trading. This is also helping to move Tesla stock lower today by about 2% at the time of recording this video. Barclays lowers price target on Tesla to $250 from $260 and maintains an equal weight rating. Tesla option activity so far so good. It looks to be on a strong note today, which again is considerable to mention because Tesla stock's down 2%. You would not expect to see this, but from hedge funds and institutions, you have had 712 option trades today, totaling $1.16 billion with a positive order value of 68%. Anything over 50, you're seeing more positive options than negative. Over 65%, you start to get into pretty bullish territory. So we'll see where these numbers hash out by the end of the day. I will bring you the final numbers coming at 8 p.m. tonight. If we take a look at the entirety of the option activity today, 57.68% of the volume is to the call side and 42.32% of the volume is to the put side. And Tesla stock remains one of the most heavily shorted stocks in our market, right behind Apple and Microsoft, with $19.36 billion worth of short positions and 3.25% short interest of free float. Tesla will again become the most shorted stock in our markets when Tesla stock does bounce, because that goes off of not free float that is sold short, but off of the dollar amount that's sold short. So even though shorts are taking on more short positions right now, the share value has fallen so much that the dollar amount that is short has also fallen a lot. You can also see that the cost to borrow numbers over here on Ortex are almost 10%, which continues to show a lot of demand to short Tesla stock. The percentage of stocks above their 50-day moving average today continues to fall straight down. You are now sitting at about 56% of stocks above their 50-day moving average. This is down about 2% today. So about 50% roughly of stocks are not doing so well in our markets. For most stocks out there, the start of 2024 has been pretty brutal. The 10-2-year yield curve is inverted 24 basis points. On Tuesday, January 16th, you were inverted 15 basis points. Now, it's interesting here. You should, in theory, never have an inverted yield curve, because if you were to give away your money to the government for 10 years, you would expect to get paid more than if you did the same transaction for 2 years, right? If you give someone else your money for a longer period of time, you would expect to make more money. That's why the yield curve being inverted is wonky and really should never happen to begin with. Now, when you actually go above this black line, when you go positive again from being negative, that's where the clock starts, if you will, in entering a recession. Typically, about 4 to 5 months after you go positive, you are in a recession. So by the time you do go positive, sometimes you're already in a recession. So as we start to uninvert on the 2 and the 10 year, especially once we get close to the Fed actually cutting rates, which that could be in March, that could be in May or even June at this point, then that's when the markets might start to panic a little bit more. And we have seen a correlation between this chart going up and uninverting and stocks falling. Whereas when you get deeper inverted, stocks have been going higher on that. Something else that I think is worth watching pretty closely is the tensions over there in the Middle East. It looks like Pakistan carried out a military strike on separatist targets in Iran following a deadly attack on its own soil by Tehran. If this situation does get worse, more US involvement, it will start to affect our markets. It does not appear as if it is today. This news just came out about 2 hours ago, but definitely something we want to be watching. That is going to do it for this video. In the next video, we will be going over your option activity, your full day's worth of option activity for Tesla stock, break down what's going on in our broader markets and the important economic data coming out tomorrow, and specifically what I think is coming next for Tesla stock. As I showed you, I did make a trade on Tesla stock today. That is a bullish trade. That's not financial advice. That's not a recommendation. I am prepared to lose all of my $370 that I put into that trade, which is a small amount relative to my, multiple different portfolios. Never trade anything you see anyone else trade. I could lose all my money. You could lose all your money if you follow that trade. I have a specific strategy that I employ. So if you guys want to come see that strategy, come learn about that strategy, how we are consistently profiting from these earnings trades, check out that link down below in the description of this video. And sometimes those earnings trades are thousands of % in profit. Sometimes they're not. Sometimes you lose all of your money. That is a risk you have to be prepared to take. But nonetheless, I do want to discuss what I think is coming next for Tesla in the next video. Hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Let me know what you think about this information down below in the comment section. My name is Michael Tyler, and I will see you guessed it, in the next one.